Thank you very much for staying with us, everyone. Rivers political tussle in focus, and so much to unpack tonight. Can impeachment thrive in an atmosphere of political instability? What role does the judiciary play at this stage? Constitutional lawyer Kabir Akibolu is my guest tonight. Thank you very much for joining me on the program.
Good evening,
Thank
Nigeria.
you very much, and Happy New Year to you. Sadly, this is a conversation we started six months into the administration of Governor Fubara. And the history of Godfather versus Godson in Nigeria's political landscape, has anything been this drastic?
There have been a lot that have been terribly drastic, more drastic than this. We have the Abia State Governor, Kalu Ojus, or Kalu, brought in Ochindo, Kalu also, Bieni Kalu. In fact, he declared Kalu a persona non grata in Abia State. In fact, he withdrew the university certificate awarded to him, the university degree awarded to him by Abia State University. He was his chief of staff when he was in office. We have it in 1999 to 2007. All the 36 state governors left with their deputies, except Yerima, who said he will use his deputy. He was out of the old 36 state governors in Nigeria then. He was only Yerima who gave it to his deputy. Immediately the deputy took over, he declared, in fact, he said Yerima should not come to Zamfara. For the next 4 years, he didn't allow Yerima to step his feet in Zamfara. But Yerima, used his own IQ. He didn't do like Wike. You understand? He just stayed like a bat, to use the word of Farashi. And the next election, he made sure that he made him to fail. You understand? He left the party for him, joined the PDP, got people to put him out of power. The guy never came back for the second time. That is second. In this place, in Edo State, it was war between Oshomole and his boy. He used to call him his boy. It was a terrible one. His boy has never been in politics. He brought him to power. Those things became what it is. So it happened in a lot of places. I can continue on and on and
absolutely.
on. However, why you look at some of these things, we have to look at it holistically. What really happens is some of the godfathers, or most of them, majority of them, what they demand from their proteges, from their successors, are, out of this world. What you can never, what people cannot even dream of.
But in this case, we don't know what the demands are. We don't know what the agreements are.
No, what we are saying is this: what they demand of them, it may not be money, it may not be this, but in terms of influence, that is the truth of the matter. They are unwritten, laws. The truth is this: some of the junior of the political proteges, when they want to get into power, they sign and agree to anything, however nonsensical.
Desperation.
When you get there because of desperation. When you get there, you see, like, is it Alexander Popo? What's the name of this poet? He said that one poet said, many people praise in the morning what you later blame at night, but always think the last opinion is the best. They join, politics and became the leader, governor or whatever. After that, they don't want to play the ball because they are not saying it, but both of them knows what they are fighting for, and Nigerians know. This is just the truth of the matter. And when you look at the pedigree of the governor Fubara, I'm not saying he's not qualified, but there are a lot of people who believe they were more qualified than him at that time. He joined the civil service of Rivers State. He didn't spend up to 20 years, or he spent about less than 20 years because he became the accountant general of the state. Do you understand? A position that is almost similar to a permanent secretary you cannot get until you are 30 or 33 in service. Now, he made it to succeed him. And don't forget, there was a time now that the EFCC wanted to arrest the accountant general of the state in person of this Fubara. Wike went everywhere to defend him. So what has gone wrong? We have to ask these questions.
And we've been asking. But this is a third attempt at impeaching Governor Fubara.
Yeah.
And there's constitutional backing. Section 188 of the Constitution has been invoked. Impeachment notices have been signed. The provisions of the Constitution are very, very clear about the removal of the governor and the deputy, but also not clear about what the Constitution says about what constitutes gross misconduct.
Yeah, God bless you for that question. The gross misconduct mentioned in Section 188 of 11 is a kind of nebulous phrase that has no definite definition. Now, if you ask me anything that appears to the House of Assembly to constitute a gross misconduct is gross misconduct, and the court cannot say otherwise. And don't forget, the issue of impeachment is a political question that cannot be tried in any court. Until during Balabe Musa in 1883, he didn't win majority in the House. The minorities paired together and formed a kind of alliance to make sure that he did not have his way. He nominated the commissioners like 4 times. They never approved anyone. Politics was still very fantastic. Then even though we were learning as a democratic nation that is growing up then, it was better than now. The House of Assembly of any state is not an extension of any governor's office. But in Nigeria today, I say it without any fear or favor, the House of Assembly that we have are just an extension of the government house, because they don't check the governors. If you see them having issues, that is when you know they're at least working, even in the National Assembly. You understand? Now, what am I trying to say? Now, this gross misconduct thing has no definition in the law. Now, if you don't want to agree that it is anything that appears in their opinion to constitute gross misconduct, I will cite an example. In year 2000, the Speaker of the Kano State House of Assembly was impeached for using bleaching cream. It constitutes gross misconduct. Do you understand? It was established. They impeached him. So if they can impeach somebody for using a bleaching cream, do you understand? If it constitutes a gross misconduct, who can they not impeach? So, and again,
I do apologize. This particular house is leveraging on demolition of the assembly complex, extra budgetary spending, fund withholding, and defiance of Supreme Court rulings.
Don't forget, some of these things constitute the offense if you want to ask me. The Supreme Court gave judgment and said he should go and represent the budget. Did he do that? Again, how can you as a governor, the House of Assembly that is being used to pass law and all that, you went and pull it down? Under the decision of Koju and Adeleke, that's the governor, the now Olubadan of Ibadan, when he was the governor, the House of Assembly sat at the Relevance Hotel in Ibadan around, I think in the evening or so, or very early in the morning. No, the work hour is between 8 to 4 o'clock. The court said it is a non-parliamentary hour and a non-parliamentary venue. You cannot sit and impeach anybody except within the presence of the House of Assembly. Now, when you pull that House of Assembly down in the name of saying you don't want them to sit, what do you call that one?
Political maneuvering.
You understand? It's maneuvering, but it's gross misconduct.
Well, I mean, sadly, it's sad enough that Section 188, sub 11 is not clear about what constitutes gross misconduct.
Yeah.
But then how can our democracy thrive in the face of such lacuna?
Well, democracy, you see, it will be difficult if we say we want to define it. It will mean that the legislators have, don't forget, the House is also the legislator. So if you want to, who will bear the card? You want them to make law, to change and say, oh, gross misconduct, and start to name. They will not be able to perform it. Because you will name the old masthead. It will not end. So it will be as it is. Gross misconduct is gross misconduct. Now, if they interpret it, fine. Let the court come and interpret and say it's not so. And don't forget, once they meet the two-thirds majority, they need simple majority to do the notice of impeachment. Once they start doing 14 days have lapsed, you understand? The Constitution is full proof of abuse. Do you understand? They have to go. The CJA has to constitute a panel. Okay, let us go to that one too. The CJA is to constitute a 7-man panel who, in his opinion, are of unquestionable integrity. How will he be able to determine that too? So the issue of discretion is also given both to the legislators and to the judex, the judge that is going to see it as a, as a clearing house for the impeachment to go on. If the judge says there is no prima facie case against, if he set up, I've seen it before in Ekiti, during one governor, I will not mention his name, the CJ was his crony. That was why we have to praise the NJC now. They don't allow anybody to be picked except the most senior judge to be appointed the CJ. At that time, what the governor did was to go and pick number 6 of the judges. So somebody who was not expecting to be a CJ, he is expecting to have retired before he reaches his turn because of age. You just went and picked him as the chief judge of the state to be senior or superior to all his seniors. Now, when they want to impeach you, what will he do? It will be paid back time, and that was what the man did. He even As one of the 7 men that he picked, he be the in-law, one of the relative of the in-law of the governor. And they sat and said there's no prima facie case against the governor. That was the end of the impeachment.
So in the case of Rivers State, is the CJ handicapped as we speak? Because, I mean, before we came on air, about 4 hours ago, there was a court ruling, State High Court, asking the CJ not to go ahead with impeachment proceedings.
The court ruling is illegal. I am not sorry to say so. Some of these judges have to be tried and dismissed from service. I am saying it on national television. The law does not permit any judge. Under our constitution, under the law, that's what they say, you cannot grant an injunction to restrain the performance of a constitutional duty. I challenge any lawyer, be a senior advocate or a professor, to come and say that a judge has the right to tell a CJ. The constitution gives the power to the chief judge to constitute a panel in such a situation. You as a judge sitting and say you must not perform a constitutional duty or role. It's wrong. Or the other day giving an injunction against the House President from sitting. You cannot do that. It's just like somebody going to court and seeking an injunction for police not to arrest him for committing an offense. The police power under Section 4 of the law of the DC is to arrest criminals. You are not going to court to shield yourself using the court as an, as a conduit pipe to seal your iniquities. You understand? How can they just sit down? It's a political question. Okay. The court has no jurisdiction.
All right. And that's you talking about Section 188, subsection 10, which appears to insulate certain decisions from judicial scrutiny.
Yes.
But again, you begin to ask, why is the court intervening?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It is completely illegal. Such judge ought to be facing disciplinary
panel by now.
The judge knows that. You can't do that. The law has already ousted your jurisdiction. What are you doing there? They bring it, you say, no, we can't try it. During Balarabe Musa, they went to court several times and the court said, no, we can't try it. And that has been the law. But in Ladoja's case, they now discover that the politicians use it, especially the federal, use the federal might to, pressurize the state.
So what happens when there is procedural defects?
That's where I'm going. When the court now discovered that especially the national level, they use the objective of impeachment, the provision of impeachment to pressurize the state or to oppress them. They now say, okay, there's this provision of the law in canon of interpretation that the law that tries to oust the jurisdiction of the court will be interpreted strictly against the user. Which now you want to impeach somebody, have you followed the procedure? For instance, if you gave you 10 days notice or 12 days notice or 13 days notice, or the notice is not signed by the requisite number of people, you understand, it will be declared invalid. Under Obasanjo, we got all sorts of impeachment. Dariye was impeached by only 9 members of the House, and it stood. They fought the matter up to the Supreme Court before the Supreme Court nullified it. But at least the state, what the federal level used to do, what our government level is, at the federal level is to give them police support to ensure that the governor is chased away. They did it under Obasanjo severally, not only in Plateau. Even in Ekiti, they assisted them to do some illegality and all that. So it happened. In Ibadan, they chased away the governor. The normal procedure were not followed. They sat in an unparliamentary building to pass the vote of no confidence. They sat at an unparliamentary hour to take the decision, and so on and so forth. And the requisite number were not, obtained before they said they impeached Ladoja. But the court, thankfully, reinstated him. But by the time they are reinstating him, he has about 3 or 4 months to stay in office.
All right. In what ways would you say Governor Fubara may have contributed to this crisis? That was a very important question, but we need to take a break at this moment. And when we return, we'll continue this conversation. This is Politics Tonight, everyone. Please stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you very much for staying with us on the program. Rivers political tussle deepens as Rivers Assembly members insist on impeachment against Governor Fubara and his deputy. Constitutional lawyer Kabir Akinbolu is my guest tonight. Thank you very much for staying with us on the program, Mr. Akinbolu. Yeah. I mean, before we went on that break, I was asking you, what are those ways, where and how would you say Governor Fubara may have contributed to this crisis?
In fact,
kindly permit me to take you back to the Supreme Court final verdict on the legality of the 2024 budget presentation. The Supreme Court was very clear, expressing strong disapproval of the Rivers State government decision to proceed with an appropriation bill that did not originate from a fully constituted House of Assembly. Is Governor Fubara that naive, to have flouted or gone against the Supreme Court ruling?
No, it's nothing but mere, what do I call it, lawlessness. When people get to power, most of our leaders, once they get to power, they believe they are untouchable. They desecrate the law, they desecrate the law that brought them to power. Do you understand? He knew, or he had reason to know. Didn't he have an attorney general? Do you understand? Didn't he have a lawyer as friends? Didn't he have even personal lawyers apart from the official attorney general of the state? He knew, but he just believed that I am untouchable. Is it not the law? We will pass it up and all that. And what causes this? Some of our colleagues, you take some cases that you are not supposed to take. The problem of Nigeria today will be solved by 80% if lawyers stand very well. I'm telling you, this is the truth of the matter. I'm telling you, I am a lawyer. If we stand very well, we don't take the cases we are not supposed to take. We don't take side where we are not supposed to take side. We give proper advice to clients. Nigeria will be better for it. You blame judges. Judges' blame is just little. The judiciary has no blame but the bar. Do you understand? Now to come back to your question. Now you challenge it. Are you aware that the Supreme Court called him a despot? That is a despotic leader in a strong term. Because if you can come demolish a house where they make law, how about? And now you present law to where? You have only 8 members. The Constitution says to constitute simple majority, to constitute a quorum for any House of Assembly, you need 1/3. 1/3, we have 31 members in the House of Assembly in Rivers State. It's a 31-member House of Assembly. So you need 11 people to constitute a quorum. You only had 8 or 9. But unfortunately, we have a funny country. Obaseki ruled with 9 House of Assembly members for 8 years. And we have a president in this country that watched. About 15 people were voted to power. They never stepped the House of Assembly one day. Yes. Neither did they collect salary or allowance or anything. Neither were the constituencies represented for the whole 4 years. Do you understand? And the president was watching. It's unfortunate. So he had done that. Nothing happened. That is why Fubara think he could do it. And again, why I will blame him in all of this? Now, you came to power through somebody. I will use the word of Niccolo Machiavelli. Niccolo Machiavelli said, a prince who becomes a king through the help of the nobles will find it very easy to maintain his position as a king than a prince who becomes a king through the help of other princes. That as a king, the one who became a king through the help of the other princes will find it difficult to maintain his position because he will be surrounded by people who consider themselves to be his equal. Now, you came to power. You understand? There are a lot of factors that has come in now. A lot of you believe that they are more qualified than you to be in that position. Do you understand? But grudgingly, they have to support you. You understand? Because Wike is bringing you on board. Now, when you get there, you now believe that, I am now, politics is very funny. The supporters of Fubara will say, don't agree, no agree for him, and all those stuff. And he allowed himself to be carried away. You have no structure of your own politically. You are a political neophyte. You understand? You are just learning. All of us in any profession will belong. I'm a lawyer. At a point, I was a neophyte as far as it was concerned. I learned from somebody. I have bosses. 2 more I learned. I didn't know more than them. I still learn from them today. So as a politician, you came to power through the instrumentality of the structure of Wike, do you understand, and his boys. You got there, you want to listen to other people, not to them. This is where the problem lies. Right. And when this thing, all this rancor, when they started, all you need to do, go back to the drawing board. The tongue and the mouth can fight. You settle it behind closed door. Maybe, I am not saying, but for one, I don't also like the style of Wike. Do you understand? If it has been like this, all you need to do, go back. Just be watching. Let him finish his tenure. Don't support him for the second time. If he won the election through you and he didn't appreciate what you have done for him or he didn't do what you want him to do, That is what I think you should have done.
All right, then.
But because people of Rivers have never enjoyed one day since
absolutely.
Fubara got
Now, this is the Governor Fubara's episode, and I mean, defying Supreme Court ruling.
Yeah.
Earlier, you talked about former Governor Obaseki's episode, where he had to rule for 8 years with only 9 members of the State House of Assembly. What does this say about the need for responsible leadership at the subnationals?
Yeah, you see, in fact, it says a lot. It says it also shows the outside world, or it shows us the Nigerian, at least the educated elites, that we are not yet in democracy. We're in civil rule. That is the only difference. In fact, because when you look at this situation where somebody will just believe we can be spending money under the Constitution Section 82, I think, the governor of a state can continue to spend money before appropriation for 6 months, only for 6 months. After 6 months, because if the House of Assembly has not passed your budget for 6 months, now little thing you can be doing. So the Constitution permits you. But in a situation whereby there is no appropriation budget, you just sit down in your room and do it. And again, let me tell you, in Ekiti sometime, Governor Fayose went to the House of Assembly, sat on the position of the Speaker, and passed the budget for himself, and continued to spend. What happened? Nobody questioned it. So it has been happening. It's not only in Rivers State. It has happened in a lot of states. You just send this thing to the state as a ritual. You don't even follow it. You spend money. The budget performance in Nigeria has been extremely poor. It's only, I think, now that the president is saying that they have achieved 50 to 80%. The highest Nigerians have ever achieved is between 30 and 20. All this while. Do you understand? They don't follow the budget at all. So that is what is happening. A governor will just continue to spend money without any budget. The Supreme Court condemned it, which means anybody talking has a right to talk because it is the finding of a court of law.
So, if the president had intervened twice, there was a declaration of emergency rule, which, divided so many Nigerians. Even you and your colleagues, lawyers are divided on this issue. Ordinarily, every party involved should have learned their lesson and show some level of responsibility. Yeah. But again, we're alarmed by the fact that this hostility has continued. Do you think the president should intervene one more time?
In fact, let me tell you, what happened in Rivers made me to respect President Tinubu more. He was extremely matured politically. There is no leader. See, at least since I became conscious of this, our democratic experience or experiment, since 1999, there is no leader. Obasanjo will not take it. Yaradua will not. I won't be able because it didn't stay long. Jonathan will never take it. Even Buhari will not take it. But he could take.
But he didn't really intervene in what happened in those states.
He even intervened for the purpose of saying, I want to settle it. You are not in my party, but I want your party to settle. And I was shocked when some people are still calling the president name. What do you expect him to do? Even the first interference, when he interfered for the first time, when the Fubara got to his state, they started abusing the president. The second time, they started, I think he intervened about 3 times. In the third time, he had to wield the stick of, emergency rule. And some of my colleagues or our colleagues were talking that, he doesn't have the power to do this, he doesn't have the power to do that. And I was wondering, what do you expect the man to do? His house is on fire. They are already bombing the oil, this thing in Rivers. It will lead to chaos. You want him to fold his arms without declaring a state of emergency. He did the best in the circumstance. But in some other this thing, we know what will have happened. You understand? They will bring somebody in to come and take over completely. But Tinubu didn't do that. He just allowed. He was trying to settle them at all costs. Now, the problem is becoming hydra-headed. Do you understand? And I think some supporters of the APC, some big wigs in the APC are trying to support Fubara, as it looks like. Wike is standing on his own as a one-man show, and Wike has the members of the House of Assembly. But the problem is this: if Wike has the House of Assembly,
the local government chairman.
Does he? And the whole local government chairman. You see the reception they gave to him. However, that's why I said the constitution is foolproof. Does Wike has the CJ? The chief judge of the state still has a say here. And now that we are having funny injunctions, some injunctions from our courts, not funny, but it's not good. That injunction has no backing of the law. The injunction was wrongly given. You can't give injunction to restrain the performance of a constitutional duty. So tomorrow, if somebody wants to do anything, you can just give injunction to, no, it's not done anyway.
Okay, you have just said that is illegal. But if it stands, I mean, just because we know how lawyers, how the judiciary is in this part of the world, and how, politicians like to hump or, thrive on some of this lacuna in the Constitution.
Yeah.
Are we looking at another back and forth, another round of legal back and forth?
Yeah, there's going to be another legal back and forth, and as I am seeing it, the impeachment procedure is not likely to scale through, because that is a snag. It's already, they have planted a landmine in the process. So it's a kind of, they have completely usurped the power of the House. They have, made the House to be handicapped. They have tied the hands of the House. So you are saying they should not do the role for which the Constitution and the people have appointed them, rightly or wrongly. Let them perform their function. Right. It's just like somebody giving an injunction for the president not to go out. It's just somebody giving an injunction for against the president from making budget in a particular year. It is not done at all, and I think it's a very dangerous precedent that we should not encourage at all. Although that's not the first place that they are doing it, there are other places they have done it before, but then there is nowhere, under any condition, is such injunction justified. People are just doing what they like. The judges are not correct at all, and I will say it anywhere. Right. The judge who gave injunction to restrain the CJ from sitting and performing his constitutional duty has acted on the virus and is supposed to face disciplinary committee of the NGC. All
right, let's leave the law for a minute. Let's stay on the political angle of this whole brouhaha. And thank you for reminding me about APC's intervention. Does it make any difference now that Fubara has found solace in the APC?
Now, it makes a lot of difference because you
also,
see,
we must not forget that Speaker Mawule and other 16 members are also members of the APC.
Yes, you see, their own membership, it's funny the way politicians run their affairs. The last shall be the first. Shall be the first, shall be the last. That's what the Bible said. Now, you come to a party, you take over all the structure. The people you met there, you are not their senior. It doesn't happen in the university. You can't come to 100 level and be senior to 500 level.
This is politics.
This is politics. So that is why they say 2 + 2 in politics is not 4. Do you understand? The Fubara has said, even in one of the speeches I listened to, he said, my card number is 001. Telling them that I am the leader of the party, be you Amawule, be you speaker, be you deputy speaker, be you commissioner, whoever, be you minister, I am your leader. That is what he's trying to say. Now, when you look at it from that angle, you will say he has something to, rely upon. However, now there is this faction between Wike, fracas between Wike and the leadership of the APC. Unfortunately for them, Wike has the soft spot of the president. The president on one occasion said, "This is the man, I always admire him." So now with this, the president and Wike might be together, except they fall apart. The APC, they may not be on the right track, because the right track is the track set by the president, because whether you like it or not, the president is the leader of the party. Now, when you look at it from that is one angle. Now, to say Wike is not important in Rivers State politics, you will be deceiving yourself. And don't forget, the ruling party needs election in Rivers State as well in next election. What happens if the interest of Wike is not protected? The ruling party will also be thinking of that, especially with the ground reception. He owns all the local government chairmen. They will still be there when the election is taking place. Will the APC be able to take the risk to say, "Oh, Wike should go to hell"? I think they will be. It will be a big. They will be sitting on the.
Because at a point, it looks like the APC may have used and dumped him.
No, if you take you have used and dumped him, he still have his card, because the chairman of all the local government, where they belong to him. And they still pledge allegiance to him the other day. The House of Assembly, they pledge allegiance to him. So, in the twilight of the election, he can still become from APC to another political party. What about that? And they will lose Rivers State.
So, that open support from the leadership of the APC, was it needed at that point?
You say what?
That open support from the leadership of the APC, yes. I mean, headed by the APC National Secretary, Ajibola Basiru, was it needed at that point?
It was not necessary. Because, again, you have to look at why people are doing certain things at a particular time. What are the motives, or what is the motive, or what was the motive? Ajibola Basiru and Wike, shortly before that time, had altercations. They call themselves names. They abuse each other.
He wants him to resign.
You understand? You get.
Do you think Wike should resign?
Wike should. Well, it depends. It's a personal, and it's not in our DNA in Africa, especially in Nigeria, for people to resign from offices. It's very rare. The only deputy governor that I've seen that resigned in Nigeria was the deputy governor of Jigawa State, who was in 2003, who said the governor of Jigawa was boasting, I am happy and I rule Jigawa from abroad. In a year, he will spend like 8 months abroad. And the deputy said, I can't work with this kind of person, and he resigned. That was the only deputy governor I have ever seen that retired. Do you understand? The rest of them want to stay. In fact, they will frustrate them out of power. It's either they impeach them or they disgrace them or that. They will not do anything. So Wike will not want to go because politician wants to continue to be relevant. I don't know the reason. And if it's money, I want to think some of them might have had it, especially with our pro system. Still, they want to become relevant. Do you ask yourself why the National Assembly has become the retirement abode for the governors and deputy governors? We have over 30 there now. How are we going to make good law in Nigeria? Because some of these people, you know, some people believe allegedly that, oh, they are the problem of Nigeria, they have embezzled money from their state. Will there be any law that will punish these people when they are the lawmaker? Who will bear the cat? This is the problem. Wike will not want to resign because it's not in Nigeria's DNA to resign from political offices. Rather, I want to get more political relevance. And
we must also take into cognizance this political romance between Nyesom Wike here, the chairman of the APC in Rivers State, and the chairman of PDP in Rivers State. That
is to show you that he's in control. Come from whatever angle. Come from the angle of PDP, he has them. Come from whatever angle of APC, he has them. Are you saying that, oh, the governor is only a governor, he's a politician to govern his commissioners and all that, but the people who control the state, they are the chairman of the party. The form will pass through them, they will sign. Don't forget, it will pass through them. They are to generate the list of delegates to vote. So there are a lot of instruments in Wike's hand. He's not my person, I don't know him, I've never met him, but this is the reality on ground. The guy is in charge. Today, I don't know what tomorrow may look like, because I don't think it's drama. The chairman of the APC owes allegiance to him, the chairman of PDP owes allegiance to him, all the House of Assembly members, at least 2/3 of them, owes allegiance to him, all the chairman of the local government, they owe allegiance to him. Who remains? After leftists and rightists too.
Also, it's been a week or two since we heard anything about that fracas between Nyesom Wike and the leadership of the APC. And I'm here wondering if APC governors decide to support one of theirs, which is Governor Fubara. We've seen a proxy war between political blocs. Is this helping the president?
Let me tell you, you know, Nigeria is a state. We pride ourselves to have run a 26-year-old democracy. However, we still have some people who have the joker card, the golden card to play. Are you aware that it was Wike who conducted the Edo State election for Governor Obas? He came out and said it on national television that I had been to win election, and it's not, and the governor could not deny it. Do you understand? And said the governor was on grave. What am I trying to say is this: APC lost there. They lost, even despite the fact that they are at the national level. So if Wike supports anybody in River, don't forget, the person might win. With all the federal might, Wike knows the magic, and he can use the magic to floor them. All this one they are saying, and don't forget, 24 hours is too far in politics. Before the election, don't be because like the president used to, you know, one of the politicians used to say that in Nigerian politics, positions are served a la carte. Do you understand? I mean, it's not buffet. You understand? I mean, it's buffet, it's not a la carte. You come there and say, this is what I want. Look at the condition being given by Council now. It's given some conditions. It's giving some conditions rather, conditions that is what I'm going to do. So the same thing, Wike will not come empty-handed and say, the election is coming, let us talk. This is how these politicians do. They share. They agree.
So clearly you're saying it's still an asset,
yes,
not a liability.
I am an asset, I'm not a liability. This is what I want. Are you going to do it? I am not supporting this person as a candidate. Support him at your own risk. If you are picking him, I am not with you.
So for those who say he needs to pick his battles carefully.
Yes, I agree also. There is a point you have to read. Law of diminishing return is setting in. Because you see about 2 of the House of Assembly members are backtracked.
So 4 of them are back on track.
Do you understand? So if you look at the whole thing, the way the whole thing, there may be decimation in the numbers of people.
No. Four of those who were begging all their colleagues to please reconsider this impeachment proceedings are back on track. Yes.
So that is to tell you that Wike is not somebody to just say he's a nobody. It's not a political neophyte. He's a, Fubara, we know in short is meant, he's a political Lilliputian. He does not know much about politics. He's just a career officer, an accountant for that matter. In politics, he does not know. Remember, when Shoneka in those days during the coup, he said, I know everything, I know about accountancy, I know about war, security, but this is your military. I don't know it. This politics that we talk about, 24 hours is too far. You see that close to the election, a lot of alignments will take place that can be in favor of Wike. Because Wike will give them conditions too. But if you say it's not important, go to the field and see what will happen.
But again, broader perspective now, Mr. Akimbolu, how does this debacle, this Wike-Fubara fallout, reflects the broader problem of Godfatherism in Nigerian politics? I'll give you instances. Yes. We have the Governor Abba Yusuf and his godfather, Rabi Kwankwaso. We have former Governor Malam El-Rufai and Governor Basani.
Yes. Are you aware, like some people said in some quarters, which I think is the truth, that Abba Yusuf was as an in-law to Kwankwaso. So if they can fight, what cannot happen? El-Rufai went to town. He went to any extent, to all extent, possible, to ensure that that man won that election. But immediately he got there, what happened? Look at it. El-Rufai also went to all extent to ensure that APC won. What happened after that? So when you talk of Godfatherism, it's a kind of concept that has come to Nigeria this thing to stay. But it's a lot of problems. The first time that we experienced it under Obasanjo in 2000 was 2003 during Ngige. Do you understand? With Chris Obi and Chris, there is this Chris Uba and Ngige. That was a terrible thing then. Do you understand? In fact, it was alleged then that some people agreed to sign their resignation beforehand. So when you misbehave to your godfather, you will go on television and announce that you have tendered your resignation, and they will show it to the press. Some godfathers used to make them do that before. So you are just like a puppet. So anytime you try to get your own formula, you run into trouble. Anytime you try to break away and become independent, you run into trouble. Anytime you want to nominate your commissioner, you run into trouble. It happens everywhere. But I have not seen anyone that ended well, apart from places like Lagos. You understand that we see they maintain the culture. Those who fail to follow the culture also, they don't come back again. They will make sure you are forgotten politically. We have a lot of them there. Do you understand? So you must stick to the rule, otherwise they put you out. Because if you know that those who say, oh, we can do it without our godfather, they forgot to realize that, they failed to realize that the politics we play in Nigeria is quite different from the one in America or another place, because we vote for platform.
And we usually compare a lot.
Exactly. When you want to do bad thing, you go to America. But when you want to do the good thing, they are telling them this is not good, they will not want to hear that one. Because let me tell you, the kind of politics we play, we vote for platform. In Nigeria today, it will be very rare that somebody from an unknown party will win an election, except you have a lot of money, if there is deep pocket. Are you aware that nobody can contest for governorship in Nigeria if you don't have up to at least, with this economy, you at least 10 billion.
And they continue to say young people are not ready.
Do you understand? They are not ready. Well, with a young graduate, we have 5 million naira to buy councillorship this councillorship form, 5 million naira to buy chairmanship form. You understand? House of Rep, how much? Senate, how much? It's not possible. We have monetized politics.
Quickly before I let you go,
Governor
Fubara is now in the APC. I mean, some say this is for political shield. This is for political interest. And the APC governors and the leadership of the APC are saying, we're ready to protect you from that political weight of your godfather. Do you think the APC should trust him?
Well, they have to trust him because he has nowhere to go. PDP is no longer a home for him. He can't go back there. He has joined them now. They have to protect him. However, will they be able to protect him without protecting the interests of Wike, who was his godfather? Wike, who damned the consequences to be with them in 2023. Do you understand? If Rivers State votes were removed, the election might have gone the other way around, the other way. Do you understand? So, and in the kind of policy we play in Nigeria, it's like an investment, you will get something back. Do you understand? This is the thing. So the politics we play has its own definition. So if you say you want to back him, they will definitely back the guy. In fact, they are likely to give him the ticket for the second term, except some things change. But Wike is nobody. They have to.
All right, then. I mean, it's sad that almost 3 years down the line, we're still talking about a godfather versus his godson, Governor Fubara and former Governor Wike. What happens to the people of River State in the face of this political challenge?
No, it is a pity.
It's a pity. I mean, it's sad that we have to leave this conversation here. Thank you so much.
People of River State have never enjoyed one day.
I've never. I mean, I agree with you. Thank you so much. Constitutional lawyer Kabir Akibulu, thank you so much for your insights on the program. We sincerely appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thank you very much for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But before we go, let's tell you that the views and reactions of our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Meanwhile, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at 12:30 a.m. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News NG. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Good night, everyone, and have a great weekend.